Most men lose women not because they care too little, but because they care too much in the wrong way. They chase. They explain. They give more, hoping it will finally be enough. And then one day, she pulls away. Not suddenly. Not dramatically. But quietly. Emotion by emotion. What if I told you that the moment a man stops needing a woman is often the moment she begins to feel drawn to him again? Not because he becomes cold. Not because he plays games. But because he finally becomes grounded. This is not dating advice. This is not manipulation. This is a hard truth learned through loss, reflection, and time. When you stop needing her to complete you, you stop draining her desire. And that changes everything. Listen carefully. Because this lesson, once understood, cannot be unlearned. Welcome to the channel, Stoic Love Wisdom. This is where you will find valuable lessons and tips to help you build a truly lasting love. In today's video, we will explore, when you stop needing her, she'll pursue you, with real stories and insight. Don't miss the advice that can change the way you perceive and live in love. You will definitely feel more comfortable when you find a quiet place and put on your headphones. Let yourself relax and be ready to receive the positive messages in today's video. Are you ready to start this journey? Let's start together. Part 1, The Illusion of Needing Her. There is a quiet truth most men discover too late in life. The moment you stop needing a woman to feel whole, she begins to feel drawn to you. Not because you ignore her. Not because you manipulate her. But because neediness repels, while self-sufficiency attracts. When I was younger, I believed love was about effort, constant effort. Texts sent quickly. Availability at all times. Emotional explanations. Reassurance given even when it wasn't asked for. I thought consistency meant devotion. I thought showing how much I cared would make her feel safe. What I didn't realize was this. I was not loving her, I was clinging to her. And clinging, no matter how well-intentioned, feels heavy to the one being held. Need is not love, it is fear in disguise. A man who needs a woman is not driven by love. He is driven by fear. Fear of being alone. Fear of being replaceable. Fear of not being enough without her presence. This fear leaks into everything. The tone of his messages. The way he waits for replies. The way his mood depends on her attention. The way he compromises his values just to keep peace. Women feel this instinctively. Not logically. Not consciously. But emotionally. And here is the brutal truth most men resist. A woman cannot relax around a man who needs her to be okay. Because subconsciously, she knows. If she leaves, he collapses. If she pulls back, he panics. If she chooses herself, she becomes the villain. That is not love. That is responsibility. And attraction dies under responsibility. The Stoic man does not attach his worth to desire. Stoicism teaches one fundamental discipline. Detach your sense of worth from external things. Not because external things are bad, but because they are unstable. A woman's affection can change. Her emotions can shift. Her circumstances can evolve. When a man builds his identity around being chosen by her, he hands over his inner peace. And once you give away your center, you lose gravity. The Stoic man understands something deeply uncomfortable. Nothing outside of me is required for my completeness. He enjoys her presence. He values her companionship. But he does not depend on her validation to stand upright in the world. This is not arrogance. It is emotional sovereignty. Why pulling away works, and why most men do it wrong. You've probably heard the phrase, pull back and she'll chase. Most men misunderstand this completely. They think distance is a tactic. They withdraw with resentment. They go silent hoping for reaction. They pretend not to care while secretly watching their phone. This is not strength. This is manipulation fueled by insecurity. A woman can feel the difference instantly. True detachment is not an action. It is a state of being. When you stop needing her, you don't pull away dramatically. You simply return to yourself. You stop over-explaining. You stop seeking reassurance. You stop negotiating your boundaries for comfort. And suddenly, something shifts. She feels less pressure. Less emotional weight. More space to desire instead of manage. Desire needs space to breathe. Here is something no one tells you plainly. Desire grows in freedom, not obligation. The more a man needs a woman, the less free she feels. The less free she feels, the less she desires. When you stop needing her, your time becomes valuable again. Your presence feels intentional, not desperate. Your absence feels peaceful, not punishing. She begins to notice what is no longer chasing her. Not because you disappeared, but because your energy changed. The paradox that changes everything. Here is the paradox that transforms relationships. The man who is okay losing her is the man most capable of keeping her. Not because he threatens to leave, but because he can. He chooses her, not from lack, but from abundance. That choice carries weight. Women are drawn to men who stand firm in their own lives. Men who have direction. Men who do not orbit another person for meaning. When you stop needing her approval to feel worthy, you stop broadcasting insecurity. And insecurity is the loudest thing in the room. This is not about coldness, it is about grounding. Let me be clear. Stoic love is not emotional suppression. It is not indifference. It is not cruelty disguised as masculinity. It is grounded presence. You still care. You still feel. But your emotions no longer control your actions. You love without attachment. You desire without desperation. You commit without losing yourself. And that is rare. What comes next? In the next part, we will go deeper into how emotional independence changes a woman's behavior, not through theory, but through lived dynamics. You will begin to understand why she pulls closer when you stop chasing. Why calm men create emotional safety. Why silence, when rooted in self-respect, speaks louder than words. For now, remember this. The moment you stop needing her to fill a void, you stop being a burden to her desire, and you become a man she chooses freely. That is where attraction begins. In love, sometimes we don't need too many promises, but just a little understanding and a heart that knows how to listen. It is the experiences, both happy and sad, that help us mature and know how to love more fully. Here, I want to contemplate those things with you, so that each step in the journey of love becomes more clear-headed and peaceful. If you feel that what I share is valuable, please click like to support this video. And if this is your first visit, please click subscribe and turn on the notification bell, so you don't miss the next insightful perspectives on love. I also really want to hear from you. What do you like most about today's story? Leave a comment below, because who knows, your experience might be a great source of encouragement for someone else who is listening. And now, let's continue to explore what's waiting for you. Part 2. Emotional independence, why she feels safer and more drawn to you. One of the greatest misunderstandings men have about attraction is this. They believe women are drawn to intensity. Intensity of emotion. Intensity of attention. Intensity of pursuit. But intensity is not what creates lasting attraction. Stability does. And stability only comes from a man who is emotionally independent. A woman is always asking one silent question. No matter how confident or carefree she appears, every woman is subconsciously asking one question when she is with a man. If I change, if I pull back, if I choose myself, will he still be okay? This is not cruelty. It is instinct. She wants to know whether your emotional state depends on her behavior. If the answer is yes, she feels pressure. If the answer is no, she feels relief. And relief is the soil where attraction grows. Neediness creates emotional debt. When a man needs a woman emotionally, he creates an invisible contract. I give you attention, so you owe me reassurance. I sacrifice for you, so you owe me loyalty. I make you my center, so you must not leave. She never signed this contract. But she feels it. And the more she feels indebted, the more she pulls away. Because love cannot exist where obligation dominates. A woman wants to choose you, not be responsible for you. Emotional independence is not emotional distance. This is where many men go wrong. They hear, be independent, and become cold. Detached. Unresponsive. That is not emotional independence. That is emotional avoidance. A Stoic man does not shut down his emotions, he masters them. He can feel deeply without reacting impulsively. He can care without clinging. He can listen without losing his frame. His calm is not indifference. It is self-command. Why calm men are magnetic. When a man no longer needs a woman to regulate his emotions, something subtle but powerful happens. He becomes predictable in the best way. He doesn't panic when she's quiet. He doesn't overreact to mood changes. He doesn't demand clarity during emotional storms. This steadiness does something profound to a woman's nervous system. She relaxes. And when a woman relaxes, her natural femininity emerges. Curiosity. Playfulness. Desire. Attachment. You don't force attraction. You remove the anxiety that kills it. She moves toward what feels safe. Here's a truth men rarely hear. A woman does not pursue a man because he chases less. She pursues because she feels emotionally safe around him. Safety does not mean boredom. It means consistency without pressure. When you stop needing her, your emotions stabilize. Your reactions slow down. Your presence becomes grounding. She no longer feels like she must manage you. And suddenly, she starts moving toward you on her own. Why she tests you when you become independent. Here's where it gets uncomfortable. When a woman senses that you no longer depend on her emotionally, she may test you. She might pull back suddenly. Become less responsive. Challenge your boundaries. Act uncertain or distant. Not because she wants to leave, but because she wants to know. Is his strength real, or is it an act? If you react with anxiety, explanations, or over-pursuit, you fail the test. If you remain calm, centered, and respectful of yourself, you pass effortlessly. Strength does not announce itself. It remains unmoved. The shift happens internally first. The moment she starts to pursue is not marked by a dramatic confession. It begins quietly. She texts first. Shares more emotionally. Seeks your opinion. Feels uneasy when you're unavailable. Not because you engineered it. But because your life is no longer orbiting hers. You have direction. Purpose. Structure. And people naturally move toward what feels whole. Stoic love means you accept the outcome. This is the hardest part for most men. True emotional independence means accepting any outcome. She may come closer. She may stay where she is. She may even leave. And the Stoic man accepts this without resentment. Because his peace was never built on her presence. Paradoxically, this acceptance is what often draws her in. The invisible power shift. When you stop needing her, conversations become lighter. Tension dissolves. Desire resurfaces. Not because you changed her, but because you reclaimed yourself. You stopped negotiating your worth. You stopped chasing reassurance. You stood grounded in your own life. And from that place, attraction becomes effortless. What comes next? In part 3, we will confront the most difficult shift of all. Letting go of control. You will learn why control kills desire faster than indifference. How masculine presence replaces emotional management. Why leadership in love begins with self-mastery. For now, remember this. A woman does not chase a man who needs her. She gravitates toward a man who is already at peace without her. That peace is rare. And rarity attracts. Part 3. Letting go of control, the moment desire reawakens. Most men believe control creates security in relationships. Control of the pace. Control of communication. Control of emotional clarity. Control of outcomes. They think that if they manage everything carefully enough, nothing will fall apart. But the truth is harsh and liberating. The more a man tries to control a woman, the faster desire dies. Not because she resists him, but because control signals fear. Control is the shadow of insecurity. A man who needs certainty will chase control. He asks questions not to understand, but to stabilize himself. He seeks reassurance not because he doubts her, but because he doubts himself. He wants clarity not because it's necessary, but because uncertainty makes him anxious. Women feel this immediately. And when a woman senses that a man's calm depends on her behavior, attraction erodes. Because now she is no longer a partner. She is an emotional regulator. The Stoic distinction, influence versus control. Stoicism teaches a simple but radical distinction. Focus only on what is within your control. Your actions. Your words. Your boundaries. Your values. A woman's emotions are not in that list. When a man accepts this fully, something profound happens. He stops trying to manage her feelings, and starts leading through presence. Influence replaces force. Calm replaces pressure. Respect replaces persuasion. And influence is always more attractive than control. Why uncertainty is necessary for desire. Desire requires mystery. And mystery cannot survive micromanagement. When a man needs to know where he stands, what she's feeling, what will happen next, he drains the unknown. But attraction feeds on the unknown. When you let go of control, you stop pushing conversations forward. You allow silence without panic. You let her come to her own conclusions. This space gives desire room to reappear. Masculine leadership begins with restraint. True masculine energy is not dominance. It is restraint. A grounded man does not rush to explain himself. He does not argue for his value. He does not chase emotional resolution. He trusts his actions to speak. And this restraint creates polarity. She begins to lean in, not because she is confused, but because she is curious. Why she respects you more when you let go. Here's something counterintuitive. A woman respects a man more when he allows her to make her own choices, even if those choices risk losing him. Because it signals self-respect. You are saying, without words, I value you, but I value myself enough not to beg. That message lands deeply. Respect is the foundation of attraction. Without it, desire becomes unstable. The power of non-reactivity. One of the most attractive traits a man can develop is non-reactivity. When she cancels plans, pulls back, tests boundaries. And you respond with calm consistency, not punishment or pursuit. She feels your strength. Not the loud kind. The quiet kind. And quiet strength is rare. Control keeps you small. Control keeps you focused on her reactions. Letting go returns your focus to your life. Your mission. Your work. Your growth. Your physical and mental discipline. And when your life expands, attraction follows naturally. This is where many men fail. They let go. But with resentment. They stop reaching out. But they keep score. They appear detached. But inside they are still waiting. A woman senses this instantly. True letting go is not withdrawal. It is inner release. You are present, but not dependent. Open, but not attached. Interested, but not invested in outcomes. The moment she feels the shift. When control dissolves, something subtle happens. She feels less watched. Less evaluated. Less pressured to perform. And in that freedom, she begins to express herself more honestly. Desire returns not because you demanded it, but because you stopped interfering with it. What comes next? In part 4, we will explore masculine presence and silence, the most misunderstood tools in attraction. You will learn why silence creates depth, how words lose power when overused, why stillness commands attention. For now, remember this. The man who releases control regains his center, and from that center, attraction flows naturally. Love is actually like a mirror reflecting the inner self. When we are calm enough, we will realize that every challenge, every silence carries a valuable lesson. And that is what I want to convey through each story on this channel. If you feel that these shares bring value, please leave a like to support the channel. And don't forget to subscribe, because who knows, one day, just a small idea from these videos can change the way you look at love, at yourself. Let's continue with me, because there are many interesting things waiting for you to discover. Part 4. The power of silence and masculine presence. Most men believe attraction is created through words. The right explanation. The perfect message. The clever response. The emotional clarification at exactly the right moment. They talk themselves into exhaustion. But the men who leave the deepest impression say very little. Because presence speaks louder than language. Why men talk too much in relationships? Men speak excessively when they are uncertain. They explain because they want to be understood. They justify because they want approval. They clarify because silence makes them anxious. But in doing so, they reveal something unintended. I need you to know where I stand so I can feel safe. A woman hears this not as honesty, but as instability. Attraction requires emotional tension. Over-explanation kills tension. Silence is not absence. Silence is often misunderstood. It is not withdrawal. It is not punishment. It is not emotional shutdown. True silence is contained presence. A grounded man can sit in silence without discomfort. He does not rush to fill space. He does not fear pauses. And that calm unsettles in the best way. Masculine presence is felt, not explained. Presence is not charisma. It is not performance. It is internal alignment. When a man is centered, his body language is relaxed. His eye contact is steady. His tone is measured. He does not lean forward emotionally. He allows the moment to come to him. A woman feels this immediately. She slows down. She becomes more aware. She starts paying attention. Why silence creates depth? Depth cannot exist without space. When you speak less, she speaks more. She reveals more. She invests emotionally. Not because you manipulated her, but because you gave her room. A man who fills every gap denies her that space. The Stoic art of saying less. A Stoic man chooses his words carefully. He does not respond to emotion with emotion. He does not escalate tension with explanations. He does not defend himself unnecessarily. He understands. Words lose power when overused. When he does speak, his words land. The difference between silence and withdrawal. This distinction matters. Withdrawal is passive-aggressive. Silence is grounded. Withdrawal seeks reaction. Silence seeks alignment. If your silence is heavy, she will feel it. If your silence is calm, she will lean into it. Why she leans toward stillness. A woman lives in a world of emotional noise. Opinions. Expectations. Reactivity. A man who brings stillness becomes a refuge. Not by fixing her, but by not being disturbed by her storms. That stillness is magnetic. Presence is leadership. Leadership in love does not come from direction. It comes from emotional containment. When things are uncertain, you don't rush. You don't panic. You don't demand. You hold the frame. And she feels safe inside it. When silence is most powerful. Silence matters most when she is emotional. She is testing. She is uncertain. Most men rush in to stabilize. The Stoic man listens. Observes. Responds only when necessary. And that restraint creates trust. The moment she changes. At some point, she notices. You are no longer trying to impress. You are no longer chasing clarity. You are no longer filling space. And in that quiet, she feels your strength. Not loud. Not dominant. But unshakable. What comes next? In part 5, we will close the circle. We will talk about choice, abundance, and the ultimate paradox. Why the man who is ready to lose the woman is the one she chooses to keep. For now, remember this. Silence is not emptiness. It is the sound of a man who is at peace with himself. And peace is deeply attractive. Part 5. Choice, abundance, and the man she chooses freely. There is one moment in every man's life when love stops being confusing. It is not when he finally understands women. It is not when he learns the right words. It is not when he figures out how to be irresistible. It is when he realizes this. Love only works when it is a choice, not a necessity. Everything before that moment is tension. Everything after it is peace. The final illusion men must break. Most men believe commitment is what keeps a woman close. So they offer certainty too early. They prove loyalty before it is asked for. They anchor themselves emotionally long before trust is earned. They think this creates safety. But safety without freedom becomes confinement. A woman does not stay because a man needs her. She stays because she chooses him. And choice only exists when both people are free to walk away. Why abundance is an inner state, not options. When men hear abundance, they think of other women. More matches. More attention. More opportunities. But real abundance has nothing to do with options. It is internal. It is the knowledge that your life is full without her. Your purpose existed before her. Your worth is not granted by her presence. When a woman senses this, she feels something rare. She feels chosen, not required. The moment the dynamic fully reverses. At some point, often quietly, she realizes. You are not afraid to lose her. You are not trying to hold her. You are not negotiating your identity for connection. And this realization changes how she feels around you. Because now, your attention has weight. Your presence has meaning. Your commitment feels intentional. She begins to invest, not because she fears losing you, but because she wants you. The ultimate Stoic paradox. Here is the paradox that most men resist. The man most capable of love is the man least afraid of being alone. Not because he is cold, but because he is complete. He can love deeply without clinging. He can commit without dissolving. He can walk away without bitterness. This is strength. And strength creates attraction effortlessly. Why she chases what is grounded. A woman does not chase chaos. She does not chase anxiety. She does not chase emotional hunger. She moves toward grounding. Toward a man whose emotions are stable. Whose direction is clear. Whose presence feels solid. When you stop needing her, you stop pulling energy from her. And when the drain disappears, desire often returns. Acceptance is the final act of power. The Stoic man accepts reality fully. If she chooses him, he is present. If she hesitates, he remains steady. If she leaves, he does not collapse. This acceptance is not passive. It is powerful. Because nothing is more attractive than a man who is not negotiating with fear. Love without attachment is the purest form. Attachment says, I need you to be okay. Love says, I want you, but I am okay regardless. That distinction changes everything. A woman can feel it instantly. One feels heavy. The other feels free. And people always move toward freedom. This is not a strategy. It is a way of being. If you read this looking for techniques, you miss the point. This is not something you do to make her chase. It is something you become. A man with a centered life. Emotional discipline. Self-respect. Purpose beyond romance. When you become that man, the question changes. You stop asking, how do I make her want me? And start living as someone who is already whole. From that place, attraction is no longer forced. It is natural. The final truth. Let me leave you with this, not as advice, but as a lived conclusion. When you stop needing her, you give her the greatest gift of all. The freedom to choose you. And when a woman chooses you freely, that is not obsession. That is real desire. That is Stoic love. Conclusion. In the end, everything you have just read points to one simple truth. Attraction is not created by need, effort, or emotional hunger. It is born from freedom. When you need a woman to complete you, you silently place a weight on her shoulders. She feels responsible for your happiness, your confidence, your sense of worth. And no matter how caring she is, that weight eventually pushes her away. But when you stop needing her, when your life stands firm on its own, something profound changes. Your presence becomes light. Your attention gains value. Your commitment feels like a choice, not a demand. Stoic love is not about withholding affection or playing games. It is about mastering yourself before asking to be chosen by another. It is about emotional discipline, self-respect, and the courage to accept any outcome without fear. A woman does not pursue a man because he ignores her. She moves toward the man who is grounded, calm, and complete within himself. A man whose life has direction. A man whose peace is not fragile. A man who can love deeply without losing his center. When you reach that state, the dynamic shifts naturally. You no longer chase. You no longer negotiate your worth. You no longer fear silence or uncertainty. And from that stillness, attraction reawakens. Remember this. The man who is ready to lose a woman is the man most capable of keeping her, because he chooses her freely, not desperately. That is the essence of Stoic love. Not control. Not attachment. But strength, freedom, and quiet confidence. And it is from that place that real desire begins. Thank you for taking the time to watch today's video. Hopefully the sharing about love and lessons from this video will help you have new thoughts and find empathy. If you find the video useful, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel and share with those around you. Each of us has our own stories about love, and I'm happy to explore them with you. See you in the next videos. Wishing you a wonderful day filled with love.